Hey, John Hickok here. Thought I would talk a little bit about YouTube's policy about machine guns, right? Um, this may not be something that affects a lot of you. If you're watching, if you're looking at something that I'm making, you probably care a little bit maybe about about machine guns, but maybe some of you don't understand what the impact of it is and all this kind of thing. So, they, as you may know, they changed some of their policies recently and made them a lot stricter. I'm not going to go through every single little thing right now. I mostly want to talk about the machine gun part of it, where they made it so that, it was already getting to the point where machine guns were very difficult to be demonetized or to get monetized. And some of you may think, oh, big babies crying about their money. Well, the thing is, if a video is demonetized, it is going to have dramatically less of a reach than it would have, right? Because if YouTube's not making money on it, why would they push it? They want people clicking on videos that are making them money too, right? So when you think about our Second Amendment rights, all this sort of ties in together that I'm about to get through here. When you think about our Second Amendment rights, one of the big things that has helped is this combination of kids getting into video games and then jumping from their video games, the guns they're seeing in those games, to going on YouTube, right? I think the work we've done has been a huge factor in that, as being one of the earliest, not the earliest, but one of the earliest people putting out lots of gun content on the internet, going back to 2008, right? So people who are not gun people seeing gun content on the internet, being shown gun content, is huge for our rights. So it's not about us losing a few cents on a video. If we're not reaching as many people with content about firearms, then it's not being as effective, right, for our rights. Now, of course, we do this for a living, and not making the money on it hurts too. But not a lot of our content is machine guns, so it's really not a big deal. The bigger deal is them trying to suppress an element of gun culture, right, so that it can only be seen in a negative light. Okay, so that's always been an issue with the demonetization, but now they are age restricted, which even further limits the amount of people that can see them. And it's not just because, and when they age restrict a video, one, it's definitely not monetized if it's age restricted, right? So it's going to be dinged in that way. And it's not just people who are under 18, they're not able to see it. It's not everyone is logged into an account, when they watch a YouTube video. I mean, any video that we've ever put out that got age restricted early on, it got, just a tiny amount of the reach that it normally would. So it basically kills the video. It's basically a video killer, right? So from like a monetary perspective, if you're trying to do this for a living, yeah, you're not going to make a lot of machine gun videos, because you're not going to make any money, and like nobody's going to see them, right? So they're trying to de-incentivize things that they don't like, and then kind of going back to bigger than just machine guns, going back in time to early days of YouTube, we were in some big fights for our gun rights early on in the YouTube days, and there were some really scary times where we could have lost it all. We really could have lost it all, and a lot of younger generations might not realize that. And I really think the thing that saved us was how many more people are into guns, and that came from the internet. It was very easy to demonize gun ownership when the only way most people were going to be exposed to guns is from movies or the news, okay? Most of the time when you watch movies or the news, how are guns portrayed? In a negative way. Even in some action movie or whatever, it's still like a gun being used to hurt people, right? Maybe those people deserved it in that context of that story or whatever, but it's like guns hurt people, and that's the narrative that you're going to see in movies and on TV and the news. And it wasn't until YouTube videos that regular people who did not grow up like I did on this very ground, on a shooting range right outside their bedroom window. If you didn't grow up with a crazy dad like I did that got you into guns, that's your only exposure to guns. And it wasn't until YouTube that people actually realize that, oh, you can just have fun with guns. Most people are just having fun with them. They're going out in the woods and they're target shooting and just having a good time, And that's super important for people starting to realize I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. Your exposure, whether you want it to or not, your exposure affects you. You know, like you may have a certain idea in your head that something is a certain way, but if every time you engage with that thing, it's not that way, eventually you're gonna kind of change your mind. Just from experience, your brain is just gonna make that shift, you know. And I think that has sort of happened in a positive way with guns. So all of that to say, with YouTube suppressing full auto in that way, they want to make sure that the idea remains that full auto is only for the military. That's dangerous stuff. You know, you should only be seeing that if it's in a war documentary or a video game, right? Because that's still allowed on YouTube. You can still play video games. You know, shooting a machine gun. You can still show footage from a war. You can still show clips from a movie. All that is still allowed and not age restricted, not even demonetized most of the time. So that's what it's about. That's the more sinister side of it, is they want to keep that in the zeitgeist as a negative thing, and that's what we should be worried about. So when you see YouTubers complaining about demonetization, it's not just about the money. You know what I mean? There's plenty of, you know, if you're making YouTube videos and know what you're doing, you can get around it and you can still make content and you know, make some money. It's about them silencing the thing that has been the most important for our gun rights, which is just the repetitive positive exposure of the shooting sports and the hobby, and you know, using guns for self-defense, and just regular people using guns, you know, not how they're portrayed in the media. Okay, so there's kind of my take on that. You know, if you feel so inclined, maybe send YouTube an email, tell them, you know, some version of what I said, or whatever your own version of it is, and let them know you're not happy about it, because it's not good. It's something we should be worried about. You know, I've seen some things moving in the right direction lately with, you know, Elon Musk buying Twitter, right? X has been great as far as not censoring content. You know, as I make this, Mark Zuckerberg just announced that Meta platforms are gonna either stop censoring or they're going to cut way back on it. You know, that's still kind of new. We'll see, right? We'll see. They don't have a great reputation, but hey, you know, I'm game if Zuckerberg wants to start allowing guns and things like that in a better way on his platforms. You know, so YouTube is up to bat. You know, let's see what happens, and let's hope for the best. But I don't know. Just thought I'd make this little video, talk about that a little bit. Hope you you know, think about that some, and you know, hope you got something out of it. I appreciate you guys for hanging out here in the woods with me with one of my favorite little toys. See you next time.